12 months, he went from saying, I want to be a Rocky for life, full no trade. This is the only uniform he's going to wear. And now Ken Rosenthal's always dialed in, saying it looks inevitable that these two are going to part ways. The difference 12 months makes. Nolan Arenado has been my favorite player for a long time. To watch him play for another club, it would be mind-boggling. But there's something that Ken said there, Bill, that I think our ears perked up with. Why is it that the Rockies would be upset that Nolan Arenado isn't publicly supporting the idea that he supported 12 months ago when he signed long-term?
I think the key thing there was up on that board. It was a full no trade, which means he privately said to the Colorado Rockies in the form of a contract, I want to be a Rocky for life because I want the full no trade in there. I don't want you trading me.
Yeah.
And so for whatever reason, whatever a year makes, seems to make a lot of difference right now. So Colorado seems to be having second maybe thoughts on the idea that we gave them this many years and this amount of money, because obviously there's some conversation going on.
And it's not Nolan Arenado at the winter meetings calling GMs.
Doesn't seem to be.
No. So we've heard the Atlanta Braves is a possible destination if they don't land a Josh Donaldson. They have the young pieces that they would go get a Nolan Arenado. And now recently we've heard that the St. Louis Cardinals would be in the mix, reportedly, for a guy like Nolan Arenado. Fergie, does that make sense to you?
100%. I'd actually love to see him in a Cardinal uniform. I mean,
why?
You take a guy that plays with that sort of vigor, that sort of passion, and you put him in a town like St. Louis where they love baseball. Do you realize, I think that's not only good for Nolan Arenado, I think it's good for St. Louis, I think it's good for the sport to put him on a grander stage.
We've seen this before, and this is a comp that I think works. Back in 2002, who was the best defensive third baseman in the game? It was Scott Rowland. And Scott Rowland was a Philly. 6 years in, they move him, and the Cardinals immediately locked him up. He had a bunch of all-star appearances, Gold Gloves, and Bill, he was a centerpiece to a World Championship team in 2006.
The similarities, too, is a stud you could count on. You know, here's a dude that's going to go out there and play 150 games for you, and you know he's going to hit in the middle of the order for you. But you look at the deal right there and how it all laid out. I get it, and I would really question, you know, the thought process. What if Colorado moves him to either St. Louis or Atlanta? Are you getting back something that's going to immediately make you better? Is that a form of them punting in an idea of saying, okay, we can't necessarily run down the Dodgers yet. Let's put this thing on a little bit of a hold right now. So what changed in a year's time, if anything? Because, look, we're not sitting in the inside of any sort of baseball operation room of the Colorado Rockies.
No.
But it certainly seems when there's the smoke, there's some fire type idea. That seems to hold true. So what necessarily has changed with the Rockies in 1 year's time?
I wonder if it's what he brought up in our first segment. Trevor Story became a superstar. We knew he was a talented player, but in 2019, we saw an MVP caliber shortstop that isn't making $280 million. So maybe they're looking at it going, wait a minute. We've got a cheaper version of our franchise player that we can lock up to not $280 million and save that money, maybe trade Arenado for young pitching because they can't sign in free agency, and this is a new way to restart it.
And I think that's just the logical way to look at it. And if I'm Nolan Arenado, I'm not even going to take it personal at this point. If you're the Colorado Rockies and you're thinking about freeing up all sorts of money, then you can back that up with, like you said, Greg, getting young pitching back. That's how you build a team. And so I can understand Nolan's position, and I can understand the Rockies' position, but ultimately I think it goes back to what you said, Billy, at the very beginning. He's got full no-trade protection. So he doesn't have to come out and say anything, right? I already said it in the full no-trade protection. I'm not going anywhere unless I decide I want to go somewhere.
Cardinals dealt with this a couple years back. They wanted to take on the contract of Giancarlo Stanton after he won the MVP, and they wanted the deal. And Stanton said, no, I've got full no trade. I don't have to go there. He wanted the Dodgers, eventually settled on going to the New York Yankees, but he did not want to go to St. Louis. We'll see if the Cardinals can pull that off.